Was Abraham Lincoln a president?
Yes.
Oh, I thought he was just a whatever public figure.
Welcome back to Delulu Diaries, where the timelines don't match, but the receipts always do. Before we jump in, I want to say thank you guys so much for being patient with me while I took a week off to recover. I'm feeling so much better, as is everybody else in the Delulu family. We really needed the rest, so I really appreciate you guys being patient with that. Unfortunately, I missed so much in the Amberverse, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at her TikToks that I missed, starting with July 2nd. So let's go ahead and hop right on in.
Okay, you guys, so here is everything that I ate today in a calorie deficit. This is day 3. I have a clementine. I have red grapes. I made scrambled eggs, serving of shredded cheese, a serving of chicken, scallion, and some seasoning, and I added tapatio to the top.
So I actually don't hate this first meal. I've said before that I don't really like eating loose eggs like that. I would probably prefer to cut one of the eggs out and add a tortilla in. It doesn't really change the calories that much, but that's neither here nor there. It is really just like a taste preference. I did take a peek at what she had on her plate because a lot of that is stuff that I have an idea of what the calories would be like. And I think she did a pretty good job of counting the calories. So I'm not mad at her breakfast. I actually think that's pretty reasonable. All right, I'm just going to show a still for the second meal. I did watch her talk about it, but she's doing that thing where she like mixes it around and the sound is just so awful. I don't know why that sound is just like the worst for me. But she basically says she's been having the same meals because she wants to stick to what works for her, and this has been working for her, so, great. And I want to point out this really quick. Somebody in the comments was like, 1,864 calories, you need 1,200. And I don't want to sound like I came back from my break as a total baby, but I do see these kinds of comments on a lot of her stuff. People being like, oh, you can do the bare minimum, you can do 1,200 calories, or, oh, you could not eat for a year and sustain yourself. Now, granted, biologically speaking, should she take a bunch of vitamins, would she be able to sustain herself for a year? Technically, yes, but I would never recommend that. I think that's really gross for anybody to recommend that. I know we're talking about Amberlynn Reid here, and so we don't have to be concerned, but I think it's important to remember that there are people reading comments and looking at this kind of diet stuff where they might not be in as severe of a situation as Amber and might be taking the comments to heart, and that can very easily go to eating issues in the opposite end of things. So I do want to say that I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with eating 1,200 calories. There are women who are short and do not need a lot of calories to sustain them, but for somebody of Amber's size, she does not need to cut that drastically in order to lose weight, and I don't think that it would be a good idea for her either. First of all, I think that would be a huge shock to her system. And then second of all, like, why set herself up for failure even more when she already struggles to stick to the 2000s? And again, I hate to be on Amber's side. But finally, we see her talking about sticking to 2,000 calories instead of trying to go like lower and lower and lower, which is how she usually gets onto these like spirals where things go bad because somebody will be like, oh, you need 2,000 calories. And she'll be like, I think I can get away with 1,500. So I'm going to do 1,500. Like, she's actually picked a reasonable goal for herself and is trying to stick to it. Now, I will say I don't necessarily believe that everything that she's showing on screen is what she's eating, and I certainly do not believe that this is going to be the time that she finally gets it together and changes or anything like that. In fact, I saw somebody theorizing that she is punishing Emily for Emily's behavior with Zio, and as much as I hate to say it, that is a very real possibility, but I don't care why she's doing it. Honestly, I love to see Amber succeed. It doesn't happen very frequently, but when she does actually lose weight and do well for herself, I'm a fan of that. And her personality so far in this TikTok does not seem that egregious, so I'm happy with the content that she has provided us with on this day.
All right, you guys, so this is what I made for dinner. I laid down seaweed and I made like a rice, tuna type of deal to put on top. I know it looks hectic, but it tastes so good. So it's rice, tuna, sriracha, soy sauce. I weighed out some mayo, so it's like a sriracha mayo since I don't have actual sriracha mayo. I just made my own. And then I just put it on top of the seaweed with a jalapeno per little seaweed cup, if you want to call it that, or blanket, sleeping bag. I don't know.
God, it's like she wants me to come back and look stupid, I swear. I am not mad at her dinner either. That looks fire. As soon as she showed it, I was like, oh man, yeah, some like tuna on seaweed with a little bit of spicy mayo would be so good. And then she says she weighed out her mayo. She added sriracha. I think that the portion size looks very reasonable. Tuna is so low calorie. You get the little bit of like salty crunch from the seaweed, which is really good to not crave like chips and things. I think that's a great diet meal. I hate her for making me come on here and sound like an baby, but like, am I tripping? Did I take too much of a rest and recovery? I think this looks like a good day. Let's see what she has for her snack, but like, I'm not mad at it.
All right, so snack time is, I have a chocolate rice cake with one Laughing Cow wedge on top. I know it looks hectic, but it is so good. I have a clementine. I have been obsessed lately. I have a serving of white cheddar popcorners and a serving of the kettle popcorners. I know they look identical, but they are two different flavors. So that's everything I ate today.
All right, I'm actually really happy that she put the chips on the plate instead of eating them out of the little baggies, because now that I see the portion size, I'm like, I still agree with what I have said in the past. I don't think that eating those like air popped, like having a whole snack plate of air popped stuff is probably not the best. It's probably better to combine that with other foods that are a little bit more filling. So like, for example, with the rice cake, she has the cheese. I think that's a good idea because you get a little bit of protein and fat from the cheese that'll help keep you full, but you get the like puffed rice cake to kind of feel like you're eating more volume. So I think that it would be nice to have another option on that plate that was a little bit more filling too. But if she's sticking within the 2,000 calorie frame, well, I was going to say that she doesn't have to do that, but then somebody else calculated that she'd have like at least 100 calories left. I don't know. I probably would have like a little bit of avocado or something, like a quarter of an avocado, just to kind of get another healthy fat in right before bed, just, you know, to keep full for me. Because like I said, I do better with healthy fats. Other people do better eating a lot of protein. So, you know, you could have some protein if she's having her snack like a little while before bed. But yeah, I mean, again, I don't think this is the worst day of eating I've ever seen. Her personality seems pretty normal in this video. Like, I don't want to say that I like what I see here in terms of like, I know how Amber is and that this is just like not going to continue forever. We're just in part one of the cycle where she's at her most likable. But were I just looking for meal ideas to eat on a 2,000 calorie diet, I don't think this is that bad. I think that I actually would have some of these myself. So let's see what her next TikTok is. I'm real nervous that this is going to be an overwhelmingly positive Amber video, in which case I know you guys are going to eat me alive in the comments, but like, I can't help how I feel.
Hello. Welcome to day 4 of me showing you every single thing that I eat in a calorie deficit. So this is going to be a high protein, low carb breakfast. It's going to give me lots of energy. I think today I'm going to upload each meal individually. I will be uploading them a little later. As long as it's chronological and you guys can understand what is going on, that's all that matters.
Okay, so I do not have the same fear that I had with the last TikTok that this is going to be too Amberlynn positive, because we are back at eating like huge bites. She's like slurping down her food, as one commenter put it, which is so true. She's like not really chewing it at all. And that is so bad for weight loss. I mean, it's not good to not chew your food in general, but for weight loss especially, you really want to be taking like smaller bites, taking your time eating, things of that nature. So just a little tip. I'm pretty sure everybody has heard about that. And then she also says that this clocks in at 470 calories, which at first I was skeptical, but she gets the lean ground beef from what we've heard. So if that's about 4 ounces of ground beef with 3 eggs, that does clock in at about 470. So I do believe her on the calories. Now, in terms of the actual meal itself, this is not something that I would eat. It really seems like she is for sure going for a high protein, low carb kind of a thing. I don't think she's trying for like keto specifically. And I think that she is even being very careful not to call it keto because that puts like an expectation on her, which I will say is a good move for her. I would not ever label myself as keto or vegan ever again if I was her, because that does give somebody specific like parameters for what her diet should look like. So that's one form of growth for Amber. She's learning how to not get boxed into taking accountability for a specific diet. That being said, I'm really curious to see what the rest of this day looks like because breakfast started out weird. So like, I'm curious to see if the rest of the meals look weird, if we're going to get our same little cottage cheese and ground beef for lunch, even though she had a bunch of ground beef for breakfast or what. So let's go ahead and check out the next TikTok.
A salad, cheese, onion, hard-boiled egg, ham, cucumber, Italian, pepper, water, ice. I love how it's all like, you know, it's like a little serving. Crackers, baby?
Okay, so a couple of interesting things are going on with lunch. Number one, she's out to bingo with Mama Lynn and the boyfriend. So that's really nice. I like to see her out and about. I feel like it is kind of sad that whenever her and Emily are broken up, we see Mama Lynn a lot more because that makes me feel like Mama Lynn is being pushed to the side for Emily. But at the same time, I don't know Mama Lynn's feelings on that. Sometimes I feel like she wants to spend as much time as possible with Amber to make up for lost times. Other times I feel like Mama Lynn finds Amber to be a huge burden. It's probably a mixture of both, if we're being honest, because I feel like she might feel obligated to make up for Amber's bad childhood, but not really enjoy the time they're spending together. But who knows? I mean, I haven't seen them interacting enough recently to say one way or the other. I just think that's kind of something interesting to keep tabs on. The second thing I think is interesting is that in her bio, she says 361 calories for lunch, only ate half. I'm wondering if she's calculating all of the calories that she had, or if she's calculating all of the calories that were in the salad for her total at the end of the day. Because back in Jade era, I think it was, she made this really large bowl of pasta, and she said she was only going to eat half, but then she said she was going to count the calories as though she had had the whole bowl of pasta. And obviously, I don't think this needs to be said, but I'm going to say it anyways. Don't do that. If you're counting your calories, just count what you ate. Now, if I had like a meal and I left a couple of bites on the plate, like not even enough to make leftovers, am I seriously going to go through and count out those calories to get rid of them? No, I would probably just say that I ate the whole thing, even if I knew I had like a bite or two of pasta left, because that's such a low amount of calories. And that kind of goes for this salad as well. I mean, if she only ate half, then she's only potentially adding an extra 180 calories onto her diet. So it's not that big a deal, but especially for something like pasta, she should, if she eats half, she should only count half of the calories, if that makes sense. So I'm curious to see how that shakes out at the end here. I'm also curious, this is a iceberg lettuce salad. I will say I did calculate the calories on this because I know that those containers are about 2 ounces, so they each hold about a quarter cup. And so I did calculate this meal at 310 is what I got, but I didn't calculate any of the vegetables because I don't ever do that. So, does the iceberg lettuce, cucumber, and onion add up to an extra 50 calories? Maybe the Italian dressing she got is a little higher calorie than the one that I get. I don't know, but 360 sounds within the range of possibility. But either way, I would be absolutely hungry within an hour or two of this. So I'm curious to see if she does 2 snacks, if she moves her snack up, or if the next meal we see is dinner. Because if the next meal we see is dinner, unless dinner was eaten right after bingo, I would be very suspicious that she's recording everything she's eating.
So I wanted to show you what I'm having. Obviously, I'm showing you all my meals, but I'm so dumb. During breakfast, I showed you what I was eating, but I forgot to tell you what I was eating. I had a very busy morning, and as I was editing it, that's when I realized, whoops. So if you go back and look, it's just like 2 TikToks ago. It's just a leftover ground beef with salsa with fried egg on top. And I just had it in this like meal plan, glass Tupperware type of deal, and I was just eating out of that. Anyway, so I'm hoping to not make that mistake again. My lunch today was super light, so feeling kind of hungry for dinner. I have plenty of calories for it, thankfully. I have a serving of corn, 2 servings of Brussels sprouts that I just cooked on the stove with some seasoning. I have 2 servings of red potatoes and 2 chicken sausages that are like jalapeno cheddar, and I just cooked this in the air fryer. So oh my god, I'm so hungry. It smells good, looks good, sounds good. I know it's gonna taste good too. And I was correct. I don't know why it bothered me so bad that I accidentally forgot to say what I was eating in my breakfast. I can't stop thinking about it. Who else loves Brussels sprouts? I think that they're like one of my top favorite vegetables, and I hated them when I was younger. It's just so crazy how your taste buds change. Like, I love cabbage, and to me, it's like little mini cabbages.
Yeah, Brussels sprouts are in the same family as cabbage. What do you mean that to you specifically, Brussels sprouts remind you of cabbage? Of course, they are very similar. That aside, I will say I do like Brussels sprouts. I don't like them steamed or boiled or anything like that. I have to have them roasted. That's like the only way that I really enjoy them. But yeah, that's beside the point. Let's continue on.
I'm gonna go eat this and watch Love Island. Instead of making a whole separate TikTok for my snack, I'm just gonna add it at the end of here. So this is about 275 calories worth of popcorners. I definitely recommend these because they're super low calorie, they're satisfying, there's tasty, tons of different flavors, and they have an amazing crunch.
Okay, so annoyingly, she did not put the calories for her dinner into the bio, which is kind of funny because that's what she has historically been doing, but then she forgot to do it for dinner. And then during the dinner clip, she's talking about how she's annoyed she forgot to tell us what she was having for breakfast. But in any case, we were right about breakfast, so we're good there. We guessed correctly. I calculated up what she had in her bio for her calories, and it added up to 920, including the 270 calories for the snack that she said she had. So she would have had 1,000 calories for dinner, which I'm not even going to bother speculating if that dinner was within 1,000 calories. To me, obviously, yes, it is within 1,000 calories. So if she ate everything she says that she ate for the day and nothing else, then she did a good job of staying on track. I will say, and oh my gosh, I know some people are not going to agree with this take. I believe that she is sticking to what she says she's eating here. I was really skeptical at first, but this day made so much sense to me. First of all, she says that she was busy in the morning, which, yes, everybody in the comments on her TikTok is like, busy doing what? But if she was getting ready for bingo, which obviously Amber is very slow moving. I do believe that getting ready for an evening event would take up all of her time. So she gets ready, she films the TikTok, she doesn't recall that she needs to say what she's having because she has her mind set on getting ready for Mama Lynn to pick her up at the apartment. They go out to bingo, and as I said, oh my gosh, I'd be starving after that lunch. We cut to dinner. She says she's starving, but she has a lot of calories remaining, which is true based on the calculations that we are provided. She says after dinner, she's going to go watch Love Island. The next cut we see to her eating her snack. She is on the couch with her snack. Like, I do think that's pretty reasonable. I'll have a bowl of chips while you're watching TV, and then unless she does something at night to really throw off the calories, which she does have a history of doing, I think that this seems reasonable. Oh my God. I can't believe I'm believing Amber, and I know that this is going to come back and bite me, but it just, logically, everything makes sense to me in this day. The only thing I take issue with is that I believe she somehow missed a day, because she calls this day 4. And so I went back to look because I was confused on what the timeline is. Day 1 was June 29th. And then she calls July 1st, day 2. But there's 30 days in June, so I don't know if she's posting these the day after they happen or where we lost a day at. But for this to be day 4, I think that this is July 3rd, unfortunately, because I did wait to film these. It doesn't actually have the date. It just says 1 week ago now, so I don't know for sure, unless she says in the next one that it's July 4th or something, but we're going to have to wait and see, because I'm going to call this video here. I did just want to try to catch up by doing 2 to 3 TikToks a day. And since she split this day up into 4, we're already getting close to the 20-minute mark if we haven't surpassed that by just a little bit. So I don't want to make this video too long. As for the rest of the updates, just real quick, I will say I checked her Cameo. She is back on Cameo, charging $60. Her last one was fulfilled on July 8th, so it looks like she is actually fulfilling them as well. Also, it looks like that little break she took did good for her, because it does say that she has had 11 recent requests, so business is picking back up for our girl. I'm eager to see if she goes back into the LCU in August still. I'm kind of leaning towards no, because the more I think about it, the more I'm like, okay, if she got chased out of the Discord because of people bringing up certain allegations, I would be skeptical that she'd be willing to get up onto camera, although I do think Keem would allow her up, so I'm still not sure. I feel different about if she's going to go back or not every single day. So truly we will have to wait on that. But regardless, outside of the Amber stuff, I do just want to say thank you guys so much again. You have been so sweet and supportive. So many of you have sent well wishes for not only me, but for my family. And that just means so much to me. I really am so grateful for you guys. You have no idea. I mean, on days when I was feeling really sick and just did not want to get out of bed, apart from having to take care of my responsibilities, it was so nice to see all of the well wishes. So if you are one of the people who sent me in a well wish, thank you so much. That really helped carry me through this week. I'm hoping that I never have to take another full week off. I did every single day feel like, oh, maybe I should film something, because I'm just very I hate breaking my schedule. But ultimately, I decided it was best for me and the baby to just take the full rest, and I'm glad I did, because I think that our whole family recovered better for it. I also got to catch up on some house projects and things like that that I had been meaning to get done. So I'm very, very grateful to all of you for being so understanding about that. There's not going to be a Mr. Delulu video this weekend, because he was also sick, and while he is also feeling better now, I think he wants to catch up on some of his hobbies that he was not able to do during the week that he was sick. So I'm not going to pressure him, but there will be one next week. And then next week I will be filming Monday through Friday. So there should be a video for you guys every single day of the week. Also, I did talk to Quirky Moments about potentially doing another live stream sometime soon. I can't do it this weekend because I have my baby shower this weekend. But potentially next weekend, we'll have to see, because I do have to coordinate with her schedule and things like that too. So we've got some new things on the roster. I do feel very rested and rejuvenated after my week off, so I am ready to hop back in. So once again, thank you guys so, so much. And if you made it this far, you already know. Stay Delulu, but not that Delulu. I'll catch you in the next one.